called a blockchain? To find the answer, we need to look back to an earlier time, closer to the start of the web. The Internet is about storage and distribution of information to large numbers of people. Blockchain has a similar goal, and it builds on previous experiments looking for ways to improve that distribution. Electronic systems and trust. Before blockchain, cryptocurrency, or the systems that use them could ever be a reality, the Internet needed to exist in a reliable and distributed manner, and it needed to be used by a lot of people. In its infancy in the 1960s, the Internet was a simple, relatively small network, and it was primarily used as a tool for university researchers and the U.S. government to share information digitally. Over time, early Internet pioneers made the system more usable. The biggest impacts came from the development of TCP/IP, which established a standard for communication, HTTP, which enabled web browsing, and SMTP, which delivered electronic mail. These protocols made the Internet accessible not just to researchers, but to everyone, and on a growing number of devices, including computers and later tablets and smartphones. The evolution of the Internet has changed life forever. Incredibly large amounts of information and services are now available in the palm of anyone's hand, much of it for free. However, using most online products or services requires a person or entity, known as a third party, to act as a trusted gatekeeper. These systems require two types of trust. Intermediary trust. A third party is relied on to make rational and fair decisions. Issuance trust. A third party is relied on to ensure the safety and security of any value. Financial transactions are one major area where this trust is relied upon, since most money has become digital. For various reasons, the use of fiat paper money, or government-issued physical cash, is on the decline. People today utilize electronic financial tools like debit and credit cards more than ever before. In some countries, such as Sweden, payment systems are almost entirely electronic, with most customers using smartphones and cards at the point of sale. But while for consumers the shift of payment interfaces from physical to digital is a relatively recent trend, the systems powering this accounting have long been electronic. Although cash is still readily available to most, money has largely gone from paper and coins to just numbers in a computer system, without many people even noticing. When value is moved from physical items to a database, there must be an element of trust among the multiple parties involved. Huge payment companies around the world have been created based on the idea that people storing value digitally can trust these brands. However, trust hasn't always been a reliable factor in finance. In fact, the 2008 financial crisis gave people pause, and many people began to think that perhaps blind trust and faith in financial institutions wasn't what it was cracked up to be. Tip: Blockchain is an effort to reestablish lost trust. It uses technology, specifically cryptography, to automate and enforce trust in a third party. Bitcoin was the first working system to use a blockchain. But before Bitcoin came into existence, several predecessors tried, and failed, to create similar concepts. One of the main reasons they failed was the inability to put together a truly distributed system on the Internet. Distributed versus centralized versus decentralized. The Internet today is a mix of centralized and distributed applications, though it was designed as a distributed technology. Rather than building a centralized structure with one point of failure, early Internet architects wanted to create a more resilient system. The idea for a distributed Internet came from the goal, inspired by the military, of ensuring that if one part of the system were attacked, it would still be able to operate if properly distributed. On a bike wheel, see Figure 1-1, many spokes connect to a single hub, the axle. This design facilitates a distributed approach. If some spokes are broken, the wheel can still work. Distributed means that no single point of failure can bring down an entire